My name is Chad Dawkins. I'm the curator of the exhibition Every Day. Mining her personal experience and visual elements of culture, Joey Fauerso creates elaborate narratives and tableaus through her series of paintings and distinct bodies of work. The methods of arrangement and composition are crucial to the statements her artwork represent. The artist's methods for making her recent work are important. She uses a reductive technique, using spatulas, squeegees, cloth, and other tools to quickly remove paint, thereby revealing images. The lines and areas of color, or removal of color, indicate the artist's quick motions against the drying material, often working without the freedom to rework a figure or shape once they have been applied. This technique of reduction echoes the artist's subjects of living creatures and life as a cycle. She has similarly worked with complex constructions of painted shapes that, when standing, are precarious, and when knocked down in performance or for video, refer to the same notion of the complexities of lives lived and their relationship to cultural history. Dana Frankfort layers, distorts, and redacts letter forms into visual abstractions of blocks, lines, and curves. The text is a distortion. She uses language in a literal sense and for its formal elements. The immediacy of the text message is either amplified or skewed through the material processes of obliteration and retraction, and the literal meanings of her terms are distorted, becoming self-referential to the painting and its process. Frankfort's visual manipulation of text illustrates the cumbersome suggestions of language and the limitations inherent to communication. The complexity of her painting process opposes the essentialism of the sentiments expressed. The text conveying something to be read but not consulted. Restless and energetic, productively unruly, her work can be seen as a forceful confrontation with the history of abstraction. This history includes a century of painterly abstraction in the U.S. from artists like Alma Thomas, Ad Reinhardt, Mel Bachner, and Louise Fishman, who have simultaneously worked against their own inherited notions of visual communication. Robert Hodge's interdisciplinary practice blurs the lines between production and exhibition, performance and pedagogy. He frequently uses the means of visual art and the collaborative production of music and film to create multi-part bodies of work. His exhibitions have included paintings, prints, and installations together with the production of vinyl records and live events. In many ways, Hodge's formal approach follows his conceptual concerns, ideas of ordinary life, personal engagement, and social responsibility. The parallels to music are undeniable and overt. Some compositions that seem to meander snap into place and resolve themselves. Others make their point straight away and become all about a rhythm. Creating collages of old album covers, billboards, posters, and domestic objects, Hodge compresses and alters these materials through arrangement, cutout text, painting, and assemblage. A collection of such pieces, grouped as a tableau, represents themes of memory and commemoration of both personal and shared histories, one's individual and cultural DNA. Using specific found objects of cultural value, altered and manipulated, and incorporating texts, including song lyrics, the artist creates a complex rendition of a cultural mirror. Marcelyn McNeil's paintings are among those rare artworks that profoundly affect one's senses. They are visually delightful, sensuous and soft, and richly colored like ice cream or a blanket. They feel quiet and contemplative, but not shy or hesitant. These large pieces proclaim their presence, whether it comes off as lyrical, clinical, awkward, or otherwise. Her paintings immediately bring to mind affinities with painters like Morris Louis, Joe Bayer, Sam Gillam, or Helen Frankenthaler for their large swaths of color and geometric blocks, bleeds and blends of color, oscillating between fore and background, often masked by shapes of white or black. In addition to a range of applications, one technique she employs is staining canvas via pouring oils onto the inclined surface. citing the expansive flatness of the Great Plains as inspiration. That inscrutable landscape is undeniable in her use of hard edges. More importantly, though, is the phenomenon of seeing the variety and detecting the individuality within such a sensory void, not unlike the beauty of clouds and the minimal desolation of West Texas. Daniel Rios Rodriguez's works are narratively ambiguous and present themselves essentially as objects, as very literally things in space and time. The artist uses everything from oil paint and wood to stone, wire, and rope to sculpt the surfaces of his paintings. They're a complex mix of stylistic references and imagination. Using iconographic symbols and abstractions, he portrays what appear to be Southwestern, but done so in a clear observance of his work's place within the mesh of art history and painting as a larger practice. They seem simultaneously brand new and over 100 years old. They immediately bring to mind Collage by Picasso, or Morris Graves' paintings, or Marissa Mertz's Arte Povera assemblages. The paintings of Carlos Rosales-Silva are fluid and dynamic, optically vibrant and inviting, but sharp-edged like typography or architecture. His works are grounded in painting, but incorporate many practices of sculpture and installation. Formally, these paintings are imbued with a keen knowledge of both technique and visual reference. Many of these references are to personal narratives and the images, colors, shapes, and materials that are associated with them. Furthermore, the ideas of borders, physical and ideological, are frequently present in the artist's work. Rosales-Silva draws from a history of abstraction and graphic arts that includes vernacular cultures of the American Southwest, the Western canon of art history, and the political and cultural connections and disparities between those. Here we can consider abstraction as a tool of refusal, not only to defy representation through figuration, but also as a model against its own self-perception, or rather the perceptions we have encumbered images with through interpretation and classification. In other words, to present something against standard academic or even popular interpretations through language, and to confront the troubled discourses of art history, visual culture, and anthropology at their own borders. The artwork of Vincent Valdez often emphasizes themes of social justice, memory, and ignored or under-examined historical narratives. Most recognized for his monumental portrayal of contemporary figures, Valdez has proven to be completely unabashed in his realistic depictions of the contemporary American mythos. Drawing from his lived experiences, Valdez's portraits offer unique and mesmerizing ruminations on the complexity of the concepts of the personal and the collective.